Hello there and welcome to my channel. Recently I've been going through the Star Trek movies. I've done the first three and now we're on to Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, as you can see in the image there on screen. So this one was released in 1986 and is directed by none other than Spock himself, Leonard Nimoy. Story for this one follows on from part 3, which obviously ended with our crew having mutinied essentially and returning home with a Klingon bird of prey, thanks to the shenanigans that went on during that film. So they're on the way home to Earth, basically to face a court-martial, to face a trial. They're basically going to get an ass-whopping when they get back. But before they can arrive, a huge, whopping, great big probe comes from who knows where. It's been travelling through space for, I don't know, millennia, whatever. It rocks up and it starts searching the planet Earth for whales, humpback whales, which in the time that this film is set are extinct. So the only way to stop this probe from destroying planet Earth is for our crew to go back in time in their Klingon bird of prey and bring back some humpback whales.
Scotty, how long is this bay?
About 60 feet, Admiral.
Can you enclose it to hold water?
I suppose I could. You're planning to take a swim?
Now, on the surface of things, that doesn't sound like an overly thrilling story, it's got to be said. You know, when you compare it on paper to something like Wrath of Khan, which has a villain from their past coming back to wreak vengeance on the whole crew, the space battles and all kinds of stuff going on. Yeah, Moby Dick analogies and things. That sounds a lot more enticing, sounds a lot more appealing on paper, it's got to be said. And even the third film, which was a little drop in quality there, well, considerable drop in quality from Wrath of Khan, again, on paper, you've got a race against time to rescue Spock with a Klingon bird of prey on your tail, trying to take you out at every turn. That sounds a bit more exciting. It's got to be said.
We're proposing that we go backwards in time, find humpback whales, then bring them forward in time, drop them off, and hope to hell they tell this probe what to go do with itself.
That's the general idea.
As it turns out, this movie's just really good. It's like an ultimate feel-good film. Yes, the story is a bit quaint now, but it doesn't matter as well that a lot of it's dated, because that's kind of the point. They're traveling back to the 80s. It's like when you watch it now, it is this time capsule of what the 80s was like in San Francisco. So it's entertaining. So entertaining, and it's this fish out of water story in which our crew that are so used to everything like 200-300 years from now have to suddenly come back to our time, roughly take a few decades, a time that I can still remember, a time I was born in. I remember seeing this as a child, and the crew looked just out of place, really out of place. And yet now I watch it and everything seems out of place, because that whole 80s aesthetic, the clothes, the music, just the vibe, it's considerably dated now. It doesn't fit in with how we look today. So who's the odd one out in this case? When you watch it, it's like, okay, everyone looks a bit weird in this film today, to be honest. But that just adds to the charm. It adds to the entertainment.
Guessing is not in my nature, Doctor.
Well, nobody's perfect.
I love seeing each of our characters have their own little mission, so they split off in groups of two. You've got Scotty and Sulu going off to try and find the materials to build this essentially like a cage for the like a tank, I should say, a water tank for these whales. And then you got Chekhov and Uhura stealing away into a warship, basically, a naval warship, in order to get enough radiation that they can power the Klingon bird of prey to get back home and whatnot. So they're all going on the little missions, so we get to spend a bit of time with each of them, and it's humorous. And it's this whole film, in fact, is quite humorous, but not awfully so. Not like in a way that's grating on the nerves. The humour feels very natural. It doesn't feel shoehorned in there. This feels like the right movie to introduce such a level of humour into, because the concept is, it's silly. It's like they've gone back in time. They're living in our time. They're complete fish out of waters. No pun intended. I've said that twice now, but this is a film about taking fish out. Yeah. Anyway, totally accidental. But it just works. It works. That the humour throughout works, and it's endearing. I find the characters in this one more endearing than I've ever found them before, because there's a lot more banter. There's a lot more kind of quipping with each other and hijinks. It's not just this desperate kind of struggle against another enemy that's bearing down upon them. It's just it's problem solving.
How do you propose to solve this minor problem?
Simple logic will suffice. I believe I shall begin by making use of this map.
The threat, the probe, is back in the future. We've left that there. We've come back, and for the rest of the film, it's like, oh, okay, we've just got these puzzles to solve, and we've got to do it with 20th century kind of vibes going on, and that just allows for much amusement. I particularly love the banter between Spock and Kirk in this, and Dr. McCoy as well. The three of them really come into their own in this. I mean, they've always been like a core group, but in this one, just the banter between them and Spock swearing.
Spock,
Yes.
about those colorful metaphors that we've discussed, I don't think you should try using them anymore.
They come back, and Kirk, he knows he's got to like throw out a few minor swear words. Bear in mind this film is a PG. It doesn't go too far with anything, but they throw out a few like minor swear words in order to fit in. That's Kirk. But then Spock picks up on it, and he's like, "I've noticed you're upping the swearing and stuff," and then Kirk's like, "You got to fit in." So then Spock's just like throwing him out willy-nilly, like when they don't even make sense to do it. They just seem completely out of place because he just doesn't get it. But that's amusing and it's endearing. Robin Curtis does get to return as Lieutenant Savick at the beginning of the film, but she kind of gets ditched. Now, I don't know if that was a fan reaction or we need to let her go or whatever, but I don't know, it felt like they brought her back for this little bit to say that she's still there, but then she doesn't go with them, and it's just, yeah, I don't know. I think it would have been nice to have her carry on, go along with it, but yeah, they at least they acknowledge that she was there. It's not just she's now nowhere to be seen. So at least they do that.
So, you were at Berkeley?
I was not.
Memory problems, too.
The character that they bring in for this film that I don't think has ever been anywhere else in Star Trek lore, Dr. Gillian. She's played by Catherine Hicks, and she is this expert on whales, basically. She's the one that they go to get help, to figure out what it is they need and this, that and the other. And I like her. I like Catherine Hicks in this film. I think she's got a lot of spunk. Do people use that word anymore? It sounds weird coming out of my mouth, actually. I don't think I'll use that again. But yeah, she's got something that I like. I always have done. It's not like she blows me away in this film or anything, and I honestly can't recall much of anything else she's done, although I know I've seen her in a few things. She's not just one of them actors who disappeared and never did anything. She has done stuff. I do feel like she should have had a bigger career, though. I feel like she should be a bit more well known than what she is. I think probably most people who know her probably know her from this. But yeah, I like her here. I think she adds a really good dynamic to the crew, because she's our way into them, and she's their way into us as well. So she's kind of like the bridge between these two worlds, essentially, because she can speak the lingo. She's one of us. But I think she's got a lot of charm. There is hint there of possible romance with Kirk, but like literally nothing that they over-egg, nothing that's like, it feels more like respect. It feels more like a relationship that is like going to be a deep-rooted friendship rather than anything kind of romantic, which I liked. I liked that they didn't, because they've got this female character in, let's really cram home some kind of romance angle to it, and I like that they steered away from that. There's certainly an air of respect there where you feel like it could go down the romance angle, but it's only could be. There's no like, yeah, these two are gonna hook up, and yeah, they do at some point in the film, which is refreshing because certainly back then when you had the leading man and then you'd have the female character come in who'd be the main female character of the film. At some point, they're going to kiss. At some point, they're going to get together. It's like, snarfest. I like that she's there. She knows her stuff. She's an expert in the information that they need. And she helps them. She's instrumental in helping them with what it is they need to do. So, yeah, she feels like a good, solid, strong character in her own right that isn't just there to prop up other people. So, yeah, I always appreciated that about the film, even way back when, I think, on some kind of subconscious level. I love the bird of prey, the Klingon bird of prey. It's got a lot of character that, like, you don't miss the Enterprise. This is the thing. Like, there's never a point during this film where I'm like, oh man, really? We're not going to have the Enterprise at all in this film? This sucks. How is this a Star Trek film if you don't even have the Enterprise in it? But honestly, it's not an issue. I don't think about it at all during the film. It's only like coming out of the film and thinking about what was I going to say about it that I realised that, you know what? I actually really love that Klingon bird of prey. I like the design of it. It's just, I like that it's this like smaller, kind of rugged, more, piratey style ship in which they have to, it's like they're going back in time in this beat up banger rather than a luxury liner. So I like that. I think it just adds a lot of character. Now this one is once again directed by Leonard Nimoy, and I felt like he did an okay job with the third one because he directed the third one as well. But as I say, there was a significant drop in quality from the second one to the third one. So I think there was always maybe that concern that maybe you've handed the reins over to the wrong person. But I think Nimoy excels here in this film. He's got the right material. I think the third one was really a testing ground to see if he could, manage the budget, shoot what needed to be shot in a good enough way for it to, impact the final product, in the way that it should. And I think here, that's all aside now. He's done, he's tried, he's tested, he's much more confident, and I think he's a bit more in his wheelhouse in terms of what it is he's trying to convey, which is just character dynamics. This isn't a film with loads of explosions and battles and things. It is more a character piece in which our guys are just going on these little adventures here, there, and everywhere, and we get in the little banter between them. And I think, Nimoy, he just does a phenomenal job with it.
Damn it, do you want an acute case on your hands? This woman has immediate postprandial upper abdominal distension.
I love the sequence in the hospital. There's this moment where they have to go in to recover Chekhov, basically, because of an accident that happened. And Dr. McCoy is just horrified by the 20th century medicine. It's like being in the dark ages for him. And it's just a really funny moment where he gives this woman two tablets for something that, it ain't getting cured by tablets, not in our time. And she's walking about 5 minutes later, and it's like this miracle. And it's just I always remember that moment getting a laugh out of my mum when we watched it as a family, and out of all of us, really, we always found it amusing. But it's just, again, it's charming. It's that feel good factor This is a film that is just designed to make you feel good throughout, and certainly by the end. If anything, that does lead to one moment in the film, which I would say is, it's a minor criticism, but it probably is the weakest spot, which is that when we're finally getting to the whales and we're going to recover the whales, is this bit where just as we catch up with them, it also turns out that some whale hunters have caught up to them at the exact same time. And it's like, what's the chances? You know, these fish have been released literally within the last 24 hours, and already, you know, the sea is so awash with whale hunters that our two whales, they've already got some on their back. And it's just, all it is really is it just allows for this moment where it's kind of an up yours moment to the whale hunters. You know, for the audience, we get to say, we hate you, and it's this funny moment where the bird of prey kind of emerges from its cloaking device, and they all start bricking it and turning the ship around, and it's just like, you know, it's that wish fulfillment of like, yeah, we'd love it if the tables could be turned on them like that. So I get it. That's there again for that feel-good factor, but it just feels a little contrived. A little over the top in how it's contrived just to be that moment. It doesn't feel very organic. I think the fact that we're in real-world locations as well really helps the film. It like the third one, I think, fell down a little bit because we were on an alien planet, we're on that Genesis planet, and a lot of the look of that felt like it was in a soundstage. It was quite hokey. It was quite, you could see that it was all sets and stuff, and you know, like these are fairly low budget films. You know, in comparison to the first movie, which was an astronomical budget, and because of that, they really wanted to bring the budgets down. And you know, so they brought on a producer who said he could do it. He said he could bring each film in for like 20 mil or whatever it was. And it's just like, I feel like because of that, the third one suffered a bit because they're trying to punch above, well, what they can afford, really. Whereas here, real locations, we're in the real world. They don't have to build sets. We're out on the streets. Which obviously, you know, in filmmaking terms, creates its own problems, having to shut streets down, get permissions and this, that and the other. But I just feel like on camera, you're seeing something real. You're seeing something that's actually been built. The structures all around you, being in a real city, it just makes it feel, just more tactile, I guess, more physical, larger budget. I don't know if it was. I don't know what the budget comparison was between the third and fourth film, but this feels bigger in a way, and I think it is just by virtue of the fact that we are in real locations.
Hello, computer.
Just use the keyboard.
I love how they can just like throw in like lines of dialogue as well, just like one line of dialogue, which completely gets around all of the time travel like philosophies and inner workings and thinkings that you got to do when you get into a time travel movie. It's, but if you do that, you could change history, this, that, and the other. And it's literally like one line when Scotty trying to get this guy to help him out. So Scotty just gives him the formula for this glass, this strengthened glass that we shouldn't have yet. And it's like, oh no, have you just changed history there? And then Scotty just like literally swipes it away with, how do we know that this guy didn't invent it in the first place? And it is that chicken or the egg thing that, well, if I give it him, chances are I gave it to him. I've been here already. I've been here before. This happened. You know, if we travel back through time, maybe this happened the first time around. It's this is where it came from to begin with. And it's just like, it's like, no matter what you do, it puts that idea in my head that with time travel, no matter what you do, it's always going to work out the way it is, because it only exists because you did it anyway when you travel back through time. So I like that. I like that kind of paradox that they just give us, just with a line of dialogue that's almost like a throwaway line of dialogue. It's a humorous piece of dialogue, but it still gets you thinking about how time travel would work. So it is pretty clever in that regard. You know, it's a clever film. It's a humorous film. It's a heartwarming film. It's a feel-good film. And I love Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. There's like I say, there's a few parts where it looks a little bit cheap. They're really stretching the budget. There's a few ideas in there that are just like, really? We're not going to go any deeper into that? You're really just going to hurl a ship around the sun and then boom, when you come around the other side, you've time traveled? Okay, then. It's like, yeah, that's a bit of a stretch, but it's just like, whatever. They need to get back through time. They're going to come up with some BS way of doing it. That's it. Boom, we're back in time. Let's not think about it too much. There's a few things like that where, okay, whatever. And then you've got, like I say, a few scenes thrown in where it's just to really keep amping up that feel-good factor, that where you're like, yeah, it's a bit of a stretch. But beyond that, I have a blast with this film. I've never liked the original crew as much as I do in this film. I think that, and I remember as a kid, I loved Wrath of Khan, and I still do. I still think it is ultimately the better film, just because of the tension in it, the conflict that exists within it. There's much less conflict in this film. It's mostly like race against time type stuff. I just think this one nails it in the personal aspect of it. Just seeing these guys work this mission together, being quite humorous, interacting with our world, so to speak. It's a blast from start to finish, really. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. It's one of the better ones, it's got to be said. Definitely one of the better Star Trek movies. There is that rule that they always say that the even-numbered Star Trek movies are the best, and that certainly is the case so far with these four that I've been through. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Star Trek IV. I remember as a kid this being one of the favourites, this being the one where I connected with the crew in a way that I hadn't before. And I think because of that, we probably watched this one more than we did Wrath of Khan. It's an easier watch. It's a breezier watch. You don't have to get too emotionally switched on for it. It's a good time. It's a good time. So yeah, Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. That's my thoughts. But what about yours? And which outing from Leonard Nimoy do you prefer? This one or the third one? I know there are some people who prefer the third because they do prefer the more traditional kind of, we've got Klingons, we've got a battle, it's mostly in space, we're on the Enterprise. Whereas this one is none of that really. It's completely different. So in some ways, it is a bit more kind of TV vibe about it, but who knows? I personally, obviously, as you can tell, prefer this one, but let me know in the comments which of Nimoy's directorial outings you prefer. And let me know your thoughts overall on The Voyage Home down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this review, and until next time, cracking.